All right, so good afternoon, everybody. Wanted to take a chance to go over some cruises. I know that a lot of people like doing it because you get to get away, relax, and while doing that, you get to see a few places that you hadn't seen before. But I think historically, when you look at cruises, sorry, I think a lot of people think that okay, we got to go to Galveston. You go out of Miami and you go to the Caribbean, and that's pretty much it. But there's so many other avenues to cruising that I think would be interesting for people to explore, and that's sort of what I wanted to cover with today's to live event. So we're calling it adventure cruises because it's not just maybe going and sitting on the beach uh, pulling into a private island. It's actually going and doing things that are on a lot of people's bucket list. So, getting into it, sorry about some of the color contrast. It's with the blues and the whites, and then you got some other colors later. It's just kind of hard to get them to go together. But the agenda, uh, we're going to talk about types of adventure cruises. Then with each one of these, I'm going to also go over the cruise lines that go to these, that do these kind of cruises, and the destinations that are included. So, what I've decided to do is go through each spot, identify their cruise lines, where you would depart from, and also look at the best times to go because either they might not be sailing or it might be if you're going for a particular reason that event might not be taking place. So when we look at types of adventure cruises, there's the transatlantic, transpacific. In this one, I talk specifically transatlantic. There's the Panama Canal, Northern Lights, Adriatic Sea. I kind of put that one as a adventure cruise because if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, you want to see a region that for a large part of the Cold War was a communist area, but since the fall of Yugoslavia, you see many more cultures than what we were able to see in the past. And at the same time, you're able to see the eastern side of Italy. And if you go all the way up to the northern part of the northwest part of Croatia, you get to go to Rovine, which is almost like a little Venice, but it is not actually in Italy, it is in Croatia. Antarctica, I think, is another big one that people like to look into because, well, there's only a couple places that you get to find penguins. Antarctica is one of them, and the tips of South America is the other one. So, doing a cruise to Antarctica, being able to see the seventh continent, being able to see the penguins, and just see really some untapped beauty of the world because it is so regulated that the governments really don't have a chance to screw it up. So it's really sort of left untamed and clean. The other one, round the world cruises. This is starting to become very popular, and like we'll get into more of it as we get into the presentation. And finally, I would not be doing myself justice if I didn't discuss river cruises, because as everyone who has followed me, either in my travels or or follows my business as a travel advisor knows that river cruising is by far one of my favorite things to do when you leave the country and you travel. So starting, so looking at some of the cruise lines, you need to look at it from. I think a lot of people are familiar with the mainline cruise lines. Okay, you're sailing out of Miami, Fort Lauderdale, or Galveston. You're familiar with Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Princess, and then especially out of Miami, you start getting Celebrity. Now they offer some of these cruises; they don't offer all of them, but at the same time, they are treated as the mainline cruise line, and in a lot of cases, because they're not going to have as many guests, they're using some of their older ships because the newer ships, you get more passengers. You want to be able to do a cruise where you're going to get a lot of people on, get turnover, and then get more people on because a lot of these cruises they do take some time. Almazara, Holland America, Oceania, and Virgin, they are really considered your maybe a premium cruise line. They're not luxury, but they are at a higher level than what you see with uh, your Carnival and Royal Caribbean. And then when you start getting into premium luxury, ultra luxury, you're looking at Alma Waterways for river cruising. Atlas, they do some very unique experiences. Cunard, for those that know any history of ocean liners, Cunard goes back well over 100 years. They had the Lusitania, the Mauritania, and I forget the other one, but they came about at the same time as the Titanic and her sister ships as well. Explorer is another one. Um, I'm really keen on Explorer. I think that they seem to have a very good product. Um, a lot of things are included. They have a narrow group of uh, rooms on their ships. So Explorer is definitely something that I would like. I like my clients to look into when they are looking for that luxury experience. Region Seven Seas, they are owned by the same company that owns, I believe it's Oceania, and or no, I got that back. They're owned by another mainline cruise line and a premium line. Uh, Seabourn, Silver Sea, uh, Uniworld is a river cruise line. I believe they do have some ocean cruise lines, but mainly they are known for their river cruise product. When you start looking at the luxury lines uh, that are pretty well known, you're going to be seeing the Uniworld is the number one, Alma Waterways is number two, and then followed by Viking. And there is another new player on the luxury river cruise game, and that is Riverside Cruises. And talk about them. Not they are very new, so there's not a whole lot that I have about them yet, but they are really coming in and trying to throw a wrench in the game and just add a very good, strong competitor to the luxury cruise lines that are out there on the rivers today. So, um, right, what I got here. Okay, so if we're looking at transatlantic, looking at your U.S. departures, you're really kind of looking at sailing out of Miami, New York, or Boston. Obviously, those are the East Coast departure points. I actually have a client right now who is sailing to Barcelona from Miami on Virgin Voyages. 14 days, they stop at the Azores, Morocco, and then they're going to pull into Barcelona. And so there's a certain time of year that you're going to be able to catch those. And then same thing when they are coming from the European waters back over to the U.S. You're going to sail out of Monte Carlo, especially if you're looking at luxury. When you think Monte Carlo is probably one of the first things that comes to mind when you start thinking luxury anything, and that is because it is flush with money. Lisbon in Portugal, Reykjavik in Iceland. I think a lot of people just want to go there because you have the volcanoes, you have the blue waters, and depending on the year, you are definitely going to be able to see some of the northern lights. Barcelona, huge port in Spain, and then London as well, and that is where you're going to be able to catch some transatlantics coming from east to west. Looking at your cruise lines, Cunard, like I said, they've been doing it for over 100 years, so it just makes sense. Explora, like I said, they've got two very new ships for Explorer journeys, luxury luxury ships. You're looking at no more than really 300 passengers. So it's a very intimate feel for luxury, especially going across the ocean. Holland America and Oceania, they are going to be a couple of premium lines, but they do have pretty solid products. If you have sailed Norwegian, Oceania is a part of their family, and they are going to be a step above what you've experienced with Norwegian in the past. And then Seabourn, once again, sort of like Explorer, they are their own brand. Uh, and then Virgin Cruises and Viking. One thing to point out with both of these cruise lines is they are both adults only. So if you are looking to have a family experience and you have people that are younger than 16, and some cruises there it's going to be under 18, you are going to have to look at other options besides Virgin and Viking. Uh, as far as time of year is very important with some of these itineraries because you look at some of these cruise lines. What they're doing is they're relocating their ships, and that's why you're able to get a an itinerary going across the Atlantic Ocean because they know that the market is going to start slowing down in some of the Mediterranean or in the Caribbean waters. So they're going to take their ship and they're going to relocate it to another destination, have a lot of passengers, and then once that season winds down, they're going to take it back. We see the same thing with Alaskan cruises. When you start to get when the waters are going to start to freeze over, you're going to have less passengers. They will take and they will relocate those ships from Seattle down to Galveston and Miami, so that they have a few more a few more staterooms down there, so that they can continue to utilize their ships. When you're looking at North America to Europe, you're really looking at March to May. And then when you're looking at Europe coming back to North America, it's going to be June. And then what I was saying is September to October. And that kind of makes sense because at that point you're on the tail end of the hurricane season. So you're not going to be running your ships out there, missing ports, or trying to dodge the hurricane. So when you start to come back at the end of the hurricane season, it's a lot less for you to worry about. Okay. So, Northern Lights, I think, is probably one of the more popular things on anybody's bucket list because, let's face it, it is probably one of the more beautiful scientific phenomena in on the planet, and it's also you never know when you're going to see it. I've been to the Arctic Circle twice. Never ever have I seen the Northern Lights. And the only time that my wife has is when she was flying from Houston to Paris, and they were able to see the Northern Lights on the flight over. When you're looking at Northern Lights cruises, you are going to be very time restricted on this, and you're going to be also limited on your ports as well. Bergen is in Norway. London, New York, and Reykjavik, we've already talked about. The London will take you up to Norway and it'll return to London. New York, it is going to sail and it'll either finish up in Reykjavik or it'll finish in London. So it's going to be a transatlantic cruise trying to catch the Northern Lights at that point. Rotterdam is a giant port in the Netherlands. A lot of ships are built there. It's one of the biggest cargo ports going into Europe. So it just makes sense that that's where you're going to catch some cruise lines that are going to head north. Because it's just going to be a shorter, quicker route than if they're trying to come out of the Mediterranean, then head north, where Holland is, northwest part of Europe. So you jump on, you probably stop in Copenhagen and Denmark, and then you're going to head up to Tromsø and maybe even Longyearbyen, and that'll be where you'll be able to see the Northern Lights. And it's still going to be chilly, but it's the waters are going to be navigable enough to where you're going to be able to see and do some things. Depending on the cruise line, you've got Holland America, Cunard, Oceania, Silver Sea, and Viking. There is one other cruise line, Starts. I cannot recall the name of it. I think it's Hurligan Gerten or something like that. They do more of the cruises in the wintertime, and they will stay close to the Norwegian coast. But if you're looking to see the northern lights, it's not even so much the ice at this point. It's your the time of year with daylight. Uh, Winter to mid spring and early fall. So what I'm saying here is, some of your cruise lines are going to be able to still sail along parts of Norway um, through the winter to mid spring. And once you get to mid spring, you're starting to get to too much um, daylight at night for you able to effectively see the northern lights. So you're looking at probably mid May towards the end of July, mid August. You're not going to have a lot of nightlight to have an effective viewing of the northern lights. And that's why when I say you start getting into the early fall again, is when you'll be able to start seeing the lights. Um, you're not going to see them in the middle of summer. Uh, you have the midnight sun. Once you start getting that far north, if the sun doesn't set, you're not going to see any lights. So it's not to say that you can't have a fantastic cruise if you go there. You're going to have plenty of daylight to enjoy things. But if you're going to see the northern lights, the summertime is just a no go for that. Another one, and it's actually one that I've gotten quite interested in because growing up, penguins were my favorite animal, and that's probably the best place to see them is down in Antarctica. Uh, where you're looking to take off to see those, King George Island is actually an island that is a part of Antarctica. It is not controlled by any one particular government, but is controlled by a treaty of the nations that have um, basically inhabitants on Antarctica, and it is all protected by treaty that no one can do anything to um, damage the environment. Santiago in Chile, Buenos Aires in Argentina, Puerto Williams, and there's one that starts with a U that I'm not even going to try to insult the people that live there by trying to pronounce it. Those are your primary ports if you're looking to go to Antarctica. Um, Atlas is a cruise line. They do um, some very particular adventure cruises. They are considered a luxury cruise line. Seabourn, Silver Sea, and Viking. Those are going to be your primary ones. And you're going to want to go see these October to March. So during our winter time, it's their summertime in the southern hemisphere. That is going to be the best time to go. One of the things that you're going to um, be seeing with this is uh, you're going to be able to do cold water plunges, icebergs, and then there's also you are going to be able to take rafts over to and actually land on Antarctica, which would put you for on the seventh continent. So probably the hardest continent for anybody to get to because it's not as if there are airports for you to fly into and a lot of activities for someone to do when they go to this continent. Cruises are probably the best and most efficient way to get there, but I will tell you, it is probably one of the more expensive cruises that you are going to do. So if you're looking at Antarctica, just um, come in with an open mind that the sticker price is going to be high. Um, but as I've always told my family, you get what you pay for. And if you want this once in a lifetime experience, it will cost you, but it is going to give you some memories that you'll have with you for the rest of your life. Panama Canal is another interesting one. When you look at this, it's another one of these where you can kind of catch it during ship relocations. So if you're going from Seattle to Galveston or Seattle to Miami, that is a good time to do a Panama Canal cruise. And the same thing when you're going from a southern port back up to Seattle for the summer. You're able to take an 11, 14-day cruise going east to west, and you're able to really see one of the more magnificent things that's ever been built by man, and that is the Panama Canal. You are actually going up over mountains, lifted by water on your ship, and then you come back down the other side. It's really fascinating. We still military vessels go through there. Our cruise ships, our cargo. It is. It was a feat of engineering when it was built, and it's still fascinating today, over 100 years later, that we were able to build something such as this, um, and it really it was a cost saver in the long run for the rest of the world. Uh, when you're looking at this, a lot of your mainline cruise lines are still they still do these cruises, but if you're looking for a premium or a luxury experience, you're going to be looking at Viking, Virgin, um, again Cunard, uh, and that is one of the reasons for that is because if you're doing an around the world cruise, which will be next, you'll want to go through the Panama Canal. Uh, a lot of people saw recently the video where they were going through Drake's Passage around the Straits of Magellan, and the seas were just rough. I mean, they were covering the top of the ship, and a lot of ships they will go through the Panama Canal because it is a much safer passage. It is more expensive, but it is a safer passage for their ship and passengers. So, and if you're looking to do this, really, it's an opportunity to kind of do it year round. Um, Panama Canal is near the equator. There is no um, daylight or ice restrictions keeping you from transiting. So it is something that you can do all year round, depending on the cruise line. And if you are on the east coast of the United States and you're wanting to do a Galapagos Island tour, this is something else. So you're getting a two for one for this one. You're going to sail through the Panama Canal and you're going to end up going to the Galapagos Islands. Um, and so, like I said, it's two for one. You get two bucket list items on this one. So, the next one, like I said, some of these colors, they just don't work out. Uh, Adriatic Sea is one I was talking about earlier, and it is possibly the most beautiful waters that I have ever seen. They are very dark blue. Um, the cultural landscape is just beautiful. If you were to pull into um, Albania or I've driven in Dubrovnik. You have a lot of switchbacks going up into the mountains to go over the other side. Moldova, another popular place. I think it's Kotor is the port that they will pull into. Uh, it almost looks like something out of a fairy tale. It is just such a beautiful destination, and you're only going to get that with the Adriatic ports. You do get a lot of mainline cruise lines that are sailing the Adriatic. You're looking at your Norwegians, celebrities. They are in that area. But if you are looking for luxury, Atlas, who we talked about with Antarctica, your Seven Seas, Silver Sea, and Viking, um, these are all going to be smaller ships. You're looking at probably 250 to no more than 400 or 500 passengers on board the ship. So it is a much more intimate feel. And another thing that is really good about that is you are pulling into smaller destinations. I remember being in Split, cruise line pulled in, and within a matter of 30 minutes, um, the area was completely overwhelmed with passengers. So the ships are going to be smaller to really prevent the cities, the communities from being just inundated with tourists. And we've seen the results of that in Venice, in that Venice has started to impose additional taxes on passengers and cruise ships that pull into Venice. They're imposing taxes on people that are not staying overnight in one of the hotels because they don't want it to be a place where people just come in, um, cause everything to go up in price, and then the locals are left to clean up the mess. So uh, I think they're partially controlling that in this area of uh, Eastern Europe by really restricting the size of the ships that come in, and it's going to be good for everybody because you're able to enjoy it more. I had a private tour. If I had had a group of say 10 people in my group, there's no way I could have gotten nearly as much out of it as what I did with the uh, with my private guide. Um, if if you're looking to uh, visit the Adriatic, you're going to board a cruise ship in Venice. Venice does touch the Adriatic. Um, Valletta is the capital of Malta. Barcelona, Rome, Istanbul. Those are other large cruise ports. And then Athens as well. When you're looking at Athens, what'll probably end up, you'll either start in Rome and finish in Athens, or you could start and stop in Athens as well as Istanbul. But those are going to be your primary ports. And with this one, it's really a cruise that you can do almost all year round. The waters are calm. You do get the beauty of the waves slapping against the rocks, slapping against the old walls of places like Dubrovnik. But it's not a place where you have to worry about ice blocks um, in the waterways, and you don't have to worry about light pollution preventing you from seeing what you've come to see, such as the northern lights in the Arctic. So this is definitely one to consider depending on what your schedule allows, because it's not as if you have to cram yourself into a specific window, because you are able to sell this all year round. Okay. Um, Another one that, like I said, has become quite popular. They're around the world cruises, and uh, it's almost, and going through and looking at some of this, it's not just around the world, around the belly of the planet. I saw some where you would start in Buenos Aires and you would finish in Milwaukee. Now, to think about that, you are cruising up, you are going to New York, you're going up to Eastern Canada, you're sailing down the St. Lawrence, and you're going to finish in the Great Lakes. I mean, that seems like a really fantastic voyage that you can take. Saw some where you start in London, you sail through the Arctic north of Canada, pulling into a couple of locations, and then you finish up in like Hong Kong. Hong Kong is also one of your big departure points for an around the world cruise. Uh, you start there, and in about 130, 140 days, you have circumnavigated the globe. You have over 30 countries under your belt. And while yet you were gone away from home for a long time, that is probably the most luxurious way to enjoy a 6 month period uh, and be able to see so much of the world. You're going to see so many different cultures when you do one of these around the world cruises. Cunard, once again, big ocean liner type ship, um, and you are going to definitely feel the luxury on board. Oceania, like I said, this is the ship that you're seeing in this background here is an Oceania ship, the Sydney Harbor Premium. It's above your mainline cruise lines that we're seeing out of Galveston and a lot out of Miami. Region 7 Seas, Seabourn, and Viking. Uh, Once again, these are all premium to luxury cruise lines. And if you're looking to do one of these cruises, there's only about a 2 month window where they're not sailing, or at least not beginning their journeys, and that is in November and December. Looking at what cruises are available for the next year and a half, they mainly start, the sailing window starts from January until October. But this is definitely something that I, as your advisor, can put you into. We can work out all the ports and everything else that you're looking to do, but once again, it's a once in a lifetime event. I know the Navy guys joke and give people a hard time about the 6 months, but if I'd had a chance to do 6 months on a cruise ship versus 6 months on a submarine, definitely would have taken the 6 months on a cruise ship. Um, so, and with the way that Wi-Fi is now, even if you are a remote worker, you're able to still do some work while you are doing these cruises. Another thing to point out is Nuuk. That is the capital of Greenland. It is another place where you will have around the world cruises starting and ending. So, depending on what your flavor is, do you want to start from a foreign destination, or do you want to start in Miami, or you want to start maybe international, do something unique? You can start in Greenland. So, the world is your oyster. Just It was just a matter of us sitting down talking about how long you want to sail and where you want to start and what level of luxury you're looking for. And finally, um, I would, like I said, I would not do myself any justice if I did not talk about river cruises because to me, um, I am a history buff, and when you think about how civilization of the world started to flourish, it was from cities and towns built on the rivers because it was how people traveled, it was how they moved cargo, uh, and even for battle, that was, I mean, ships would, from one territory to the next, they would sail up these rivers to have battle. You are looking at destinations on every continent except for Antarctica because in Europe you've got uh, probably 10 rivers that you can sail. I know that at one time, with as much as it was sailing out, I'm pretty sure they still have it, but Alma Waterways would have a seven river cruise that lasted for 41, 42 days. So you would transfer from one ship to another over the course of that time, but you were able to see so much of Europe just by river cruise. So you would unpack once a week, and then you wouldn't have to pack again until you were getting ready to go to the next ship. Nile River, Nile is fantastic if you are looking a fan of Egyptian history, Egyptology. Nile River is definitely a good way to do that because you're going to get Cairo, Luxor. Luxor is my favorite place in Egypt to visit. It's not overrun by tourists, but you still get a large part of the history because that's where the Valley of the Kings, Valley of the Queens, and then Luxor and Karnak Temple are all there, as well as the tomb of Ramesses II, who is probably one of the most famous of the pharaohs. And then your cruise will take you down to Abu Simbel, to Lake Aswan, and it's or Aswan Dam on Lake Nasser is what it is. So it's another fantastic place for you to visit. Gets you through Egypt on a river ship where you still get your luxury. You still get the qualities of being comfortable, and you know that you're going to be well taken care of while all getting to take in the sights. One of the new ones is the Magdalena River in Colombia. Alma Waterways is doing this one. They have two new ships, and 2025 is the first year that they are doing a sailing. They are very excited about this product, and it's going to really open up opportunities for seeing a lot of the culture without staying in just one destination. Mekong River, you're looking at Vietnam and Cambodia, and then depending on which cruise line you have, you're going to have uh, pre-cruise opportunities, post-cruise opportunities, and even with Alma Waterways, they will have it where there's a 5 day post-cruise in Thailand. So it's another fantastic opportunity. There's African safaris. If you were to look at the Chobe River, the Chobe River is a down near Botswana and Zambia, and you are able to see the big five: the lions, giraffes, rhinoceros, hippopotamus, and elephants, and you're able to see those animals in their natural habitat. You're protected. You're on a safari, but when you're on your ship, there are days where you could wake up and you could have an elephant drinking out of the water right outside of your suite. And then you're also using train to travel about, so you're getting luxury accommodations, 5 star trains, luxury accommodations on a ship. You're getting everything, and you're looking at about a 14 to 21 day itinerary with a lot of items knocked off a lot of people's bucket list. And finally, I think the last one to talk about is the U.S. rivers. Uh, the Columbia and Snake River in the northwest part of the country, it is just a sight to see. You are going through the Snake River Gorge, and it is green and cliffs up on the sides of you. It is just, it's what Lewis and Clark saw when they were on their way to find a passage to the Pacific Ocean. And You can see that too, and they have done a very good job of keeping it pristine and well preserved and undamaged by what we normally do when we find something that is beautiful. And for those that are interested, there are also the Mississippi River cruises. Um, you can either finish in the Mississippi Delta and go up, or you can start north, Iowa, even further north than that. You can start your trip and finish down around New Orleans. So this is river cruises are mainly an all year round thing. Um, some of the cruise lines have designed their ships specifically to handle high and low water. In cases where the water gets really low, if the ship has a deeper draft, they're not able to sail as easily through the rivers. And what they'll have to do is they'll have to move you from one ship to another, or they will cancel the cruise entirely. Um, Companies like Alma Waterways, like I said, they have designed their ship with the low draft to prevent that from happening. And they will do everything they can to make sure that you get everything out of your journey. And like I said, even if you go on a tour and you come back to a different ship, they're going to make sure that you finish sailing down the river and you're not missing out on anything that you paid for. Uniworld, one of the earlier slides that showed the lounge on a Uniworld ship, they are right now they are the top luxury game in river cruising. They have a very over the top Victorian style decor throughout the ship. And I will say this about Uniworld: when you book with them, it is all inclusive on their ship. All your alcohol, your gratuities, all your excursions are already paid for. So if you're looking for the true all-inclusive experience, Uniworld is the way to go. Viking, they are not as much of an all-inclusive. They do provide a very good experience for their guest. Your meals are included. Some of your alcohol is included, but you're only offered up one tour to do. Um, and then if you want to do something else, it's something you're going to have to arrange or you'll have to pay for. Where with the other cruise lines, you have multiple options, everything from something as gentle walking up to something with a high level of activity such as hiking or biking through your tour. So these are, to me, I felt that all of these cruises fell into the adventure cruise realm. And I wanted to make sure that everybody is aware of these as an option. Don't think that, well, I'm just going to change the cruise line and go see the same three ports in Mexico and Honduras that I saw on the other cruise ship that I did. No, those are not your only options. You have so many different things to choose from, and it's important that you do reach out to me so that I can find out what your wants are. Because if you tell me what you want, you can tell me what your budget is. Then we're able to find something that's going to fit what you need and what you want. So, like I said, don't think that you have to settle. There are options out there, but I can't, unless you talk to me, I really can't offer anything up to you because I could be selling you something that you don't want or need. So, I'm going to go ahead and put a bow on this one for this week. Hopefully, I was able to give everybody some good information. Let you know that there are cruises to take you from everything from the Northern Lights to the Galapagos Islands, all the way down to Antarctica to see the penguins. So feel free to reach out to me. You can text me 281-536-1713. Or if you want, you can go ahead and email me the details of what you're looking for in a trip at raymond.giles@luxrallytravel.com. I will drop all of this information into the comments below. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I will have that in my bio as well as my business card, so you're able to see a little bit of my background to give you the confidence that you need that when you book a trip with me, you are going to be getting the best experience, and it will cost you most of the time less, if not the same price, if you were to book it yourself. The exception is when you book it with me, you're getting an experienced, knowledgeable travel advisor to help you navigate all the hiccups, overcome any roadblocks for making your dream or making your vacation the dream and the experience of a lifetime. Everybody should be able to see the world, and that's why I'm here is to make sure that that happens without fail. So, look forward to speaking to everybody about their cruise dreams, and let's go ahead and we can start locking these down with deposits. Most of them are pay over time. You will not have to have it paid off until 90 to 120 days before you sail. So if you're looking at a vacation for 26, 20, or 27, this is definitely the time to start doing it because we can get you locked in with some deposits and we're able to, you make monthly payments, quarterly payments, whatever you need to do, but don't think that you have to pay the full price today to lock in a dream cruise. So look forward to seeing everybody again. Everyone have a good weekend and a good rest of the week.